Hey, it's Andrew, and I think I have the best gaming monitor ever right here. I have this problem, all right? I'm a gamer. And that's a serious problem, and honestly, if you know the cure, please let me know. I would love to hear it. The more specific problem is that I am a gamer, and I also like to do creative work. And that creative work I specifically prefer to do on a Mac. And this presents a couple different problems. It means, for one, at any given time, I kind of want to have two full-priced, expensive computers, which does not help the wallet. But the main one that seems to get in the way all the time is that I have a numerous amount of features that I want from a display. And for forever, it seemed like gaming monitors kind of sat in their own category and just focused on gamer-only specs over anything else. It seems like we might finally be moving away from that though. This is the MSI Mag 321 UPX. It is a 31.5-inch display with a QD-OLED panel. Let's talk about it. Oh, and by the way, if you don't mind helping out with the engagement of the video, please drop your favorite emoji or whatever in the comments. So this MSI monitor here is just kind of incredible, and I'm going to go through all the reasons that I do feel that way. But before I do go into that, I do want to mention that the monitor just came with a VESA mount arm. I'm pretty sure it's because I bought this straight from MSI's website, and they do some sort of bundle for new monitor purchases. But in the box is a really solid heavy-duty stand if you end up purchasing it from any other retailer. This panel, though, the panel is a QD-OLED panel, and I'll give a brief overview of what a QD-OLED panel is, just in case you don't know what it is. It's basically an OLED panel, so it has self-color and light-emitting pixels to have that perfect contrast, but it also uses an array of quantum dots in order to provide more light and give deeper colors. And the depth of color thing is kind of the highlight there. You get way more reds and more blues, the vibrant saturation. There's levels of reds that the human eye can't even see being generated from this kind of panel. And it does not disappoint. The colors in this display are eye-watering, and specifically, like I said, those blues and reds are just jaw-dropping. If you haven't seen a QD-OLED display, I highly recommend hunting one down at a Best Buy. They'll have one or two on display. If you watch something that's just incredibly colorful on them, it can be an incredible experience. But this thing is a gaming monitor, not a TV. So besides the fact that it does QD-OLED and 4K, it also does 240 Hertz, which makes it ludicrously smooth. I've previously been a 1080p 24-inch monitor guy who just drove up as many frames as humanly possible, and I never got to try the 360 Hertz, or now we're doing 480 and I think 540 Hertz monitors, and frankly I always found 240 to be the best that I was really gonna get, and I don't actually have any desire for more than that. So stepping up in size and resolution was the next obvious step. And I had never actually even played games like this in 4K, and let me tell you, I booted up Elden Ring, I set the settings to max, I set the resolution to 4K, and dear lord, playing games on this thing doesn't even feel real. It feels like I'm playing a live game demo from a showcase at E3 or something. Everything is so otherworldly crisp and clear and contrasty and saturated, and the responsiveness on top of that is just kind of mind-blowing. And then you add in on top of that this monitor is producing some of the best colors I've ever seen in a monitor in my entire life. This thing was instantly a hit. But the display has also just been a great display for two different computers. It has two HDMI ports as well as a display port, which is fantastic for my PC. And then it even has a USB-C port that's doing alt display port that even features power delivery. I currently use a Mac Studio, so I'm not using the actual power delivery, but what that means is you can connect up a MacBook and get a charge, or connect to a Mac Studio or pretty much any Apple device and get a really smooth and seamless experience directly into this monitor. The monitor's menus are also super simple to navigate. You use a joystick at the bottom of the display. It allows you to really easily navigate the settings and adjust without having to memorize which button on which side of the display is for what. You just click the joystick and start moving around. Like I said earlier, this is my first time using a 32-inch monitor, and I had two big concerns coming into this before I really got to use it. One of the concerns was on the productivity side of the spectrum. I come from the Apple space, and Apple is always preaching about Retina displays, and Retina displays basically just means that there's enough pixels per inch on the size of the display that you can't make out the different pixels visually, and this was not a Retina display. And the other was that I never used a display this big for PC gaming. I play a lot of competitive games and stuff, and if you know anything about competitive games, you've probably seen that players generally play on very small monitors and they play very close to their displays. So in the communities that I've been a part of, it's basically unheard of to be running a 32-inch display. And honestly, I've been pretty happy and surprised that both of those concerns didn't doesn't really matter. On the Mac, just factually, yes, it is not a Retina display, but I haven't found that actually affected any of the content that I was seeing on the display. It is not high resolution as my studio display, which is 5K at 27 inches, but it is an incredibly high resolution monitor at 4K, and with the QD-OLED panel providing so much color and contrast, it kind of subverts any issues I'd have with the display if it were something like maybe an IPS panel. So the productivity has been perfectly fine, no complaints, and the bigger display gives me more room to do stuff, which I can't complain about either. It's quite nice. But on the gaming side of things, like I kind of alluded to earlier by just having an amazing experience, I've actually found this to be a big plus and arguably even a competitive advantage. I don't like to sit stupidly close to my monitors. I sometimes sit closer than your average man, but I will not put my nose up on that thing and I will not get that close. I don't enjoy that experience. And previously when playing on a 24-inch 1080p monitor, if I'm sitting a couple feet back, I might miss something. Like if there was 1 or 2 pixels to indicate to me that somebody's gun barrel was sticking out from a corner or something, I wouldn't see that. Hey, sorry, technical difficulties happened. So now I'm using this microphone for the remainder of the video. Like I was saying, on the 1080p small displays, you're not seeing much, but on a 32-inch display, I can sit back, I can see pretty much the entire screen's filling my entire field of view. And honest to God, the 4K just makes everything so crisp, so clear. I can see everything. I can notice the pixels of a gun barrel sticking out from a corner because of the contrast. I honestly find it to be a competitive advantage because I feel like I'm seeing more than anybody else in the game is. The 32-inch size is perfectly sized for me to sit back a few inches, few feet from, and having that 4K just provides all of the extra resolution I would need. So I honestly I'm loving it. And I know that yes, this takes a little bit more juice out of your PC, but honestly, I think it's worth it. PCs are strong enough to be able to throw 4K and tons of frames into a game. And because of how much of a competitive advantage it feels like, and just how incredible of an experience it is, I doubt that I am ever going back. This thing is incredibly colorful and that color accuracy is amazing. In fact, it's so colorful that I need to now remind myself that most people are not going to see my content through a monitor like this. There's already been a couple times where I was looking at content on my display and I was like, that's so colorful, it's amazing, but I need to tone that back because it's a little overdone. But who would know? The next day I would look at it on a TV or a phone and I would realize, oh, I washed it out. It was actually the perfect level of color and I should have trusted the scopes because it was perfectly fine as was. But this monitor was just too vibrant for me to believe that it wasn't overly unrealistically colorful. So the color accuracy is insane. It's incredibly colorful. It is beautiful. It's amazing. And the 32-inch display is also just incredible for working. The extra 5 inches over 27 inches adds plenty of extra space to your canvases, to your video editing timeline, to really anything you're trying to do. And I've also found that I think that 32 inches perfectly runs the line between feeling like a monitor and feeling like a big TV. It's small enough that I can put it on my desk, I can lean in, I can work on certain things and be intricate using it as a computer display, but it's also big enough that I can throw a TV show or a YouTube video on it and lean back and just have an awesome TV experience. Honestly, I think it's great. The 32 inches is fantastic. All the worries I previously had about going to a 32-inch display honestly got thrown out the window pretty quickly, and now all I can really say is I'm just impressed. I think the price is also pretty impressive, and it's worth talking about. This display costs $899.99, which I know is a decent chunk of change, but it's actually really impressive when you pit it up against the competitors in this category with similar specs. From LG to Samsung to Asus to Alienware, there are already a ton of 32-inch 4K OLED 240Hz gaming monitors on the market. And from what I can find outside of sales, all of them at least start at $1,199. A couple of them are even more expensive than that. And as far as I can see, all of these are WOLED panels. These are not QD-OLED, which means that they have less color depth, which means they're not as good of a panel. This means that MSI is putting out a better monitor than all of its competitors for a few $100s less than all of their competitors. And that's pretty crazy. And I'm thinking that maybe not everybody knows about it because it's MSI. I don't really think about MSI when I think about peripherals. This is the first time I ever got an MSI monitor, but for some reason MSI is making a display that undercuts the market with a better product. And that's crazy. I remember when I first went onto the MSI store and I was thinking about getting this monitor, I had a little bit of concern because with the specs and the price, it seemed a little too good to be true. And I've frankly just been flabbergasted, to be completely honest. This display is the real deal. Gaming on it is incredible. Working on it is a breeze, and I'm honestly even considering selling my old studio display now. Even though it is higher resolution at 5K at 27 inches, I just prefer how OLEDs feel on my eyes and look compared to the LCDs, and this display is doing everything I could need for my Mac and my PC in wonderful ways. If you are in the market for a new 4K gaming monitor, or you're in the market for a 4K OLED monitor for your Mac, or you're just like me and you need kind of both, I highly recommend this monitor. There is a link in my description if you want to check it out and possibly grab it. Will help the channel. It is an affiliate link, but these are my genuine opinions on this thing. MSI didn't pay me anything or send it to me. I just adore this monitor. But that is all for me this week. I just wanted to let you guys know about this monitor. Unfortunately, my main microphone just straight up broke during this video. Mid-recording, I called a support network to try and get things fixed and figured out it is just broken now. So, gotta get some new audio equipment. We'll figure that out. This is a great time to mention I launched merch. Nothing crazy, just a couple hats and a desk mat based on some of the branding I have on my banner. If you like the phrase or you like the products at all, please consider picking one up, because now I need new audio equipment to run the channel. Yeah, this mic, this is a shotgun mic. This loves to sit out of frame, pointing at my mouth. This guy is dead. I'm very upset. I liked this a lot. It's kind of half my fault and half not my fault. So there's that. Thank you to D Sanchez for being a member of this channel. Very grateful. If you want to become a member of the channel, become a part of it. It helps me out, helps the channel out, and you guys get to be a part of it. Hang out with me. Also, and this is the last thing I'm saying, so like nobody is here, but there's a Discord link in the description that is maybe a public Discord link if you guys want to come hang out and argue about whether the ROG Ally-X is a console or not with me. So thank you for that. And by the way, hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys next week. Peace.